Have you ever thought, in all these years of walking this earth, observing people and their ways, I've come to realize something profound. Intelligence isn't just about how much you know, it's about how you live, how you treat others, and how well you learn from your mistakes. But here's the twist. There are certain unmistakable signs, 6 of them, to be exact, that reveal when someone is, let's say, lacking in wisdom. Now, before you roll your eyes or chuckle at the thought of this list, let me tell you why it matters. Recognizing these signs isn't about judging others. It's about reflection, growth, and, yes, avoiding these pitfalls in our own lives. It's also about helping those who might not even realize they're stuck in cycles of poor decisions. So, join me on this journey of discovery. Together we'll uncover the 6 undeniable signs of a foolish person. Each one carries a lesson, a story, and a mirror for us to reflect upon. Because the path to wisdom always begins with awareness. Ready to walk this road with me? Let's begin. Sign 1. A closed mind. A closed mind is like a fortress built brick by brick with fear, pride, and stubbornness. People like this not only reject new ideas, but also block their own paths to growth. They live in a rigid box where everything must conform to their rules, and anything different feels like a threat. Their confidence often serves as a mask, because true confidence comes from understanding that no one can know everything. Take Mark, for example, a department manager at a company I once worked for. Mark was adamant that the old ways were best, even as his team fell behind competitors. When a younger employee suggested implementing modern project management software, Mark dismissed it outright, saying, "We've done it this way for 10 years, and it's worked fine." As other teams advanced, Mark's team lagged behind, and their performance declined. Instead of acknowledging the problem, Mark blamed his staff, the market, even luck, but never questioned his own entrenched mindset. A closed mind doesn't just block new knowledge, it hinders the growth of everyone around it. Wise people, on the other hand, are unafraid to admit they don't know everything. They embrace learning. Stoic philosophy teaches us that wisdom isn't about always being right, but about adapting and improving. If you notice this tendency in yourself or others, remember, embracing new ideas fosters growth not just for you, but for those around you. Be brave enough to say, "I was wrong, and I want to learn." Only when the walls of stubbornness crumble can true wisdom take root. Sign 2. Constant blaming. Foolish people are masters of excuses. For them, nothing is ever their fault. A failed project, the market was too tough, the boss was biased. But deep down, blaming is a shield, a way to avoid confronting the truth. That same shield, though, becomes a prison, trapping them in their own ignorance. Let me tell you about Lisa, an event organizer I once worked with. She was responsible for planning a major conference. When the event flopped due to poor attendance, Lisa blamed the marketing team for not promoting it well enough. But the truth, Lisa had delayed sending the event details, which disrupted the entire campaign. Even then, she refused to accept her role in the failure. Her colleagues lost trust, and eventually, Lisa stepped down from her position. Responsibility, though heavy, is the gateway to growth. Wise people admit their mistakes not because they enjoy criticism, but because they understand that truth brings opportunities to improve. Stoic philosophy reminds us that mastering life starts with mastering responsibility. If you catch yourself falling into a pattern of blaming, pause and ask, "Have I done everything I could? Is there something I could have done differently?" Blaming won't change the outcome, but taking responsibility will change you. Wise individuals don't avoid their mistakes, they grow from them. And so can you. Sign 3. Arrogance over humility. Have you ever met someone who constantly tries to prove they're the smartest person in the room? That's the 3rd sign of a foolish person: arrogance. Arrogance isn't just a mask for insecurity, it's the greatest barrier to growth. Truly intelligent people know the value of listening more than speaking. They understand that learning is a lifelong process. Take Michael, a manager at a large corporation. In meetings, he would dominate conversations, interrupt colleagues, and even mock their ideas. When a project failed, Michael blamed his team, saying they didn't understand his brilliant ideas. But in truth, It was his arrogance and refusal to listen that derailed the project. Humility, on the other hand, isn't about thinking less of yourself, it's about thinking of yourself less. It prioritizes collaboration and learning over proving you're right. Stoic philosophy teaches us that wisdom grows when we're open to new perspectives, when we're willing to say, I was wrong, and I want to learn. If you find yourself trapped in arrogance, ask yourself, am I seeking recognition, or do I genuinely want to grow? Wisdom doesn't come from making others feel small, it comes from empowering them. The truly wise allow humility to guide them. And you can, too. Sign 4: the fear of change. The comfort zone feels cozy, but it's also a prison. Those who fear change cling to old habits, even when they've outlived their usefulness. They're like children afraid of the dark, hesitant to step outside the familiar. But life is like a river, it flows, bends, and constantly transforms. The wise adapt and tread with the current, while the foolish try to hold water in their hands, only to watch it slip through their fingers. Take Michael, for instance. He spent his entire life in a small neighborhood where he knew every corner and face. When his grown children encouraged him to move to a new area for better opportunities, he resisted. I know everyone here, why should I go somewhere else? He said. But as time passed, the neighborhood began to change. Old friends moved away, and familiar shops closed. Michael realized that, even though he resisted change, the world around him was moving forward. Eventually, he decided to move closer to his children. Only then did he discover that the new environment not only brought comfort, but also opened up opportunities he had never imagined. The fear of change doesn't just keep us in the safe zone, it prevents us from exploring greater possibilities. Stoic philosophy teaches us that change is inevitable. By embracing it with an open heart, we can truly live a full life. If you find yourself avoiding change, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? And what's the best that could happen? Life doesn't stand still. If you don't learn to go with the flow, you'll be left behind. Remember, change is a step toward growth. While resisting it keeps you stagnant and trapped in fear. Sign 6, talking more than listening. Have you ever seen someone who dominates every conversation? They interrupt constantly and rarely take the time to listen. This is a hallmark of foolishness. People like this often love the sound of their own voice, disregarding others' perspectives. This not only creates tension but also damages relationships. Let me share a story about John, a father I once knew. Every evening at dinner, John would monopolize the conversation. His kids tried to share their experiences from school, but John frequently interrupted to recount his own stories. When his wife suggested changes to improve their family's financial situation, John dismissed her ideas outright, insisting his way was the only way. The tragic part: John didn't realize how much his behavior made his family feel unheard and unvalued. His lack of listening created a rift, leaving everyone feeling overlooked and disrespected. Listening isn't passive, it's an active skill requiring genuine attention and respect for others. Stoic philosophy reminds us that listening is the pathway to learning and growth. In silence, we find deep understanding and wisdom. Conversely, talking without listening is like sowing seeds in barren soil. Nothing will grow. If you see yourself in John's story, now is the time to change. Next time your child shares about their day or your partner offers a thought, pause and truly listen. Don't just wait for your turn to talk, try to understand. By doing so, you'll improve relationships and create an environment of love and mutual respect. Remember, the wise person listens. The foolish one only talks. We've walked through 6 signs of a foolish person, but before you start wondering, am I foolish? Hold on. The truth is, all of us have exhibited one or more of these traits at some point. Maybe we've been arrogant, clung too tightly to our comfort zones, or talked too much without really listening. Here's the key takeaway: recognizing these signs isn't about criticism, it's about growth. Stoic philosophy teaches us that wisdom doesn't come from always being right, but from continually learning, admitting our mistakes, and striving to improve. Each foolish trait is actually an opportunity to grow wiser. If you resonate with one or more of these traits, see it as an invitation to evolve. Step out of your comfort zone. Listen more, blame less, and embrace change. This journey isn't for the perfect, it's for the brave. For those who can look at themselves and say, I can do better. Remember, foolishness is temporary, but wisdom is a lifelong journey. And on that journey, you're not alone. Keep growing, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue exploring meaningful lessons together. Until then, act wisely and act stoic.